Hey fuckers! What up? It is the special edition of the Tats channel podcast. It is a Halloween episode for your Halloweening pleasure. And as usual, I'm Kenshin, and I am joined by my fucking retarded crewmates, Tinker, NDL, and my beloved boyfriend, Tats.
Yeah, that's not,
No, I actually have a girlfriend, but she doesn't know that Tats is my boyfriend. Shh, he's actually my brother. Alright. Well, anyways.
I'm in love with Tats.
You're cheating on me, Tats?
everyone's in love with
Whoa! Whoa! I laid claim to that. I laid claim to that meat that rice years ago. That rice is mine. Oh wait, I got a bit of advice for you guys. You will stop procrastinating, guys. Later.
Okay.
I'm ready to begin
Alright,
this shindig. Who says that word anymore?
So happy Halloween and
Anyway,
Yep.
happy Halloween! This is our Halloween special podcast, and you're gonna deal with it.
that.
Okay, I said it already, and you said it too, but I said it better.
Again. Anyways,
All right.
So yeah, so now I can see Tats is glaring at me across the room here. So I'll turn it over to him to steer this podcast away from the maelstrom of penis shit jokes that we're about to make. So Tats,
Which you said you weren't going to do anyway.
Well, so I'm giving it over to you so that we won't end up having a French Revolution.
Okay, so...
See Kyle!
Yeah. What we should talk about, I think, on this one is anything scary related. So it could be...
Dick.
Not that. Anything scary related, such
Have you ever
as
seen
a
it?
scary video or a scary video game, or some of the future scary videos that we're going to be doing. But it turns out we did have some good reception on the gaming creepypastas we just made. Some people found that a little bit disappointing because it was a repeat of the Creepy Urban Game Legends. And as I say now, the Creepy Urban Game Legends was a mixture of the scary Easter eggs and the creepypastas, and it was in parts, which is not what we wanted. So that's why we made a new one. So that's done. So I now turn to NDL, and I say, NDL, what is your scariest video game you've ever played?
Well, see, for me, the scariest video game.
No, I said NDL, not Kenshin.
I know you said NDL, but I don't care.
We don't want people to get confused again, Kenshin. You do not have the talking conscience of talking. Just talk, NDL.
This is beautiful. This is so beautiful.
Alright, you know what? He does the dictation. NDL, my sweet, sweet, low-balled gentleman, what is, in your opinion, the scariest game that you have ever played?
I gotta say, the creepiest game I've ever played, it's incredibly cliche, but Pokemon Red and Blue Lavender Town, whenever I got to that, I was scared out of my mind. I mean, I didn't play video games a lot when I was a kid, but when I was in the Pokemon phase, Pokemon the Lavender Town always scared the shit out of me, but...
Pussy.
I mean...
What are you afraid of, flowers or something?
I don't know, it's just, when I was a kid, I was kind of terrified of death, and still am, and when you get to, the Pokemon thing...
What? They're a good
it's
band.
A Lavender Town.
They're a great band. Don't hate.
I didn't know Pokemon could die. I'm sorry.
Everything dies, NDL, like my father.
Oh god. I don't know. What are your guys' scariest games? I mean,
Let's talk to the Teletubby in the room.
Which is who?
Tinker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you're the. I'll think of something to call you later, Tinker. Oh, his bitch of a mother probably just got home. So let's turn to Simon Cowell over here.
Simon Cowell?
Yeah.
No. My scariest game I've ever played, I still have Amnesia, but I've done like the demo level, and I still haven't really got into the meat of the game. But that's a tough one. I've played quite a number of scary games. I think it's probably, that's going to sound stupid, but
yeah, I know it. Oh wait.
No, I was going to say Silent Hill 4. It is an old game, but I do remember owning it, and when I actually came across the victim ghost for the first time, I realised that you can't kill these enemies. There's no way you can kill them, yet they can hurt you and they can follow you throughout the whole level. And the music and the sound it makes, it really made me didn't want to play the game. It took me quite some courage to actually play through it and beat it. So For me, I actually found that game a lot scary. And I second that with Condemned, but now because I play Condemned so much, it's just a joke. So yeah, and Fear, put Fear on there as well, because that for its time was quite a scary game. So.
Of course. All right. Well, as for me, my personal scariest game. Anyone who watched our scary game lists is probably gonna know what's coming when I say this, but I would say it's a lovely little Korean title called White Day, a labyrinth called School. That's the shitty subtitle to it that makes it sound like it's a psychological drama about teenage angst. But no, it's a horror game done in a way that only Asians can, because Korea and Japan are really like good at making horror related stuff, and Korea's really good at like the revenge horror and like paranormal stuff. So give them credit there. Just White Day, it's the legend behind it, which, well, it's actually true. It's that when the game was first released, it was like people got too freaked out by it, so like the developers had to patch out like the scary aspects of what scared the shit out of people so bad, and like they didn't patch them out, but they moved it to a higher difficulty. And it was a difficulty that would unlock once you'd completed the game. So like if you were able to get through what the game normally had to offer, then you could really challenge yourself and go for the full-on scares. Because part of what it did, like, it would seriously darken the game, and some of the ghosts and illusions and paranormal shit, it's hard enough to deal with it with somewhat darkness, but the game would almost be in pitch black darkness, and you do have a lighter that never runs out, so that's nice, but I mean that doesn't help you much. The thing is, the game doesn't like rely on anything complex like Fear does with the flashbacks and shit like that. It's literally just
what system was this for again?
I'm not sure about others, but I do know for sure it was on the PC. And
right.
yeah, but I mean it's an older game, so you could run it, but because there's a project working that they're working to like restore the game and stuff to like be fully English compatible. But the thing is, it's the soundtrack, minimal though it is incredibly creepy. The story is strange, and the scares in it are incredibly psychological. It's not like boo, like Dead Space. That's why I fucking hate Dead Space. Yeah, the aesthetic is cool, and yeah, it's nice and gory, but like the monsters are so fucking thrilled to be working with you that they fight for the spotlight. In White Day, like it's like that kind of fear that Amnesia tries to instill, but I think White Day does it better. Of that creep that just starts at the bottom of your spine and tingles its way up, and you know it's there, but you don't know what it is, but it sounds creepy. You're just so fucking scared. It's a great game. Check it out. And the thing is, no games or movies scare me anymore, but that game, literally several times, I jumped and actually had to turn the game off and reapproach it at a later date.
Yeah, and you needed, what did you say, a Korean PC of some sort? Because you did mention it in the horror games, didn't we?
Yeah, the project that's going on for it's unnamed GS, I think. I think they've kind of abandoned it because they ran into copyright, but they did link to other, like, no, they're still working on it, but it's hosted on different servers, I believe. What it does, basically, it installs a program with it that when you run it, it allows it to simulate a Korean PC when you run it within the shell, so it's you don't have to go through all the pain in the ass of simulating a Korean PC. I believe the current version will just do that for you, which is convenient because I don't much feel like booting up my computer and instead of Windows going dun 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 dun, but I don't have XP, so instead of having a dun dun, I don't want to have a dun 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 dun.
Because that's not racist, is it?
No.
Yeah. So but yeah, you've never
That's
taught
why.
yourself to finish the game yet, have you? You still haven't beaten it.
That's why I'm a Mac elitist.
No, actually, I haven't. It's not because I'm too scared to do it. Part of it is because I never got around to it because I'm a lazy fuck, and so I would. And I think the other half of it, I may have gotten stuck because it's also partly a puzzle game with some actually well-designed, crafty puzzles that'll actually make you think that are randomized. And this is an old game. I think it's like 04 or something like that. maybe '05. I think it's '05, and the puzzles are randomized. So like it's the same puzzle, but it'll have different variables to it. So it's not like, okay, I can look up this walkthrough and know this is the case. And it doesn't hold your hand. It's like, okay, here you go.
It
And
just throws you in there, doesn't it? Like that.
yeah, effectively, it doesn't tell you anything. And in the same style that Dark Souls and Demon Souls does that, it lets you figure it out for yourself. And again, like the Souls games, you gotta like obviously figure out how to play for yourself. But even if you look up how to play a game, like how to do the puzzles like White Day, they can't tell you specifics. They can just say take note of these things because all the numbers and stuff are variabilized. It's really neat.
Nice.
But the scares are just, it gets you, and it's nothing like, oh, it's in your face. It's like it's that thing that goes bump in the night that you really want to see what it is, but you're too scared to get out of bed, but you're afraid that it might kill you, but you think maybe if you go up and look at it, you might find out what it is. It may not be scared, but it also could kill you quicker.
Yeah, so it's like it's not the American of
Oh no.
when they turn the corner and it's there. It's more the fact that it's the tension building. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Yeah.
Like
Sorry about that.
Like one thing that really got me, that I mean it's not a spoiler saying it at all. There's one part in the game where it's early on, it's like the first ghost. And it comes at a point where the soundtrack just comes this like creepy wailing chanting sound, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then you hear this this scratching sound like nails on chalkboard, which actually is literally what it is, because you pick up notes around the school about possibly the origin of the ghosts, and one of them has to do with a girl being up near a chalkboard and getting like so ostracized and stuff that she ends up killing herself, something like that. So I think that's the ghost related to that. But you hear it, but when you're hearing it, you don't know. You're thinking, okay, this is probably a ghost. You're expecting that, but you're thinking, at first you hear it and you're like, did I just hear that? And then obviously it's certain you do, but you're expecting, okay, this is some scripted encounter or something of the sort. And when you finally do encounter the ghost, even if you're someone like me and you know it's coming, it'll never prepare you for it, because you know it's coming when you hear that sound, but the way it's done is it'll get you every time.
It's like if you play that creepy maze game, if the Exorcist pops up.
Oh God!
That's scary.
That's a single gimmick.
I suppose so. But when you do it first time around, but
yeah, but this is something like it's like I would say it's even scarier than the Gatherers, because like from Amnesia, clarifying there, if people didn't know. Because while the Gatherers certainly are creepy and stuff, like, okay, they chase you, you hide, they go away. Like, Gatherers leave the map eventually. This thing pursues you through the map, and you can't hide from it. You just have to stay ahead of it. And it's not a chase or anything like that. It's an entity that exists within the level, and it can find you no matter where you are, and it's creepy as hell. And anyone who it will hunt you relentlessly, and when you see it, it's just like my blood goes cold every time I see the actual ghost and encounter it, and how it functions. It's just it gives me goosebumps. So, and that's just one of the many things you'll encounter. I have not played very far through the game, and but no, it's not your American horror of hey fucker, what's up? It's actually like it gets to you on a subconscious level. It's kind of like. Yeah, it's kind of like the concept that Silent Hill tries to instill with the psychological horror, done in a different, much more simplistic way that ultimately works out. It's really neat. It's like the best way to describe it, I think, would be simplified in concept, at least simplified Asian Amnesia, because it has the concept of having to run and hide and solve puzzles and explore a fucked up story. But calling it that, I feel, would seriously like discredit it. Not by any means that Amnesia isn't a great game, but this game is, I think it's in a league of its own, and it is terrifying.
Well, that's cool.
So I definitely recommend you guys check that out.
Yeah.
All right.
I might do if I get the chance to have some spare time. But okay.
Asian, you never do any work, so you should.
That's funny. Well, that said, we are planning on doing another sort of horror list, but again, it's going to be quite difficult. It's about and people have picked up on this. They've said, like, what does terrifying rooms mean? It's one of the upcoming lists. It's what it is like you play
It's
a horror
when Tommy
game.
Wiseau walks up to you and starts talking.
That's one of them. But
Oh, hi, Mark.
You're tearing me apart, Kenshin!
yeah, there's a room in the game where if you realize it's full of evil, but you know something's not right in this room, and you don't want to spend that much time in it because you
Only
feel
an hour and a half.
something's going to go wrong with it. Yeah.
I'm trying to think though, like what horror games could you put? I mean, like I'm not so much of a gamer. What horror games could you put on a list?
Of
Or
for that
something.
particular room thing. Is that what you mean, or do you mean?
Oh,
I'm not sure.
oh no, I thought you said something about like a horror video. I'm sorry, my.
That's
my
right. I
bad.
was just talking
He
about
was
like
relating it to that.
yeah.
He was saying that's
Oh, okay.
possibly what we may do, but it's a little bit of a different concept than what's normally done, which is why it's cool, but it obviously will require a lot more work, which is fine.
Yeah.
Some people said scary chases in video games. I mean, there is quite a fair of them. And these are ones where you know if you don't mash that button, you are going to get killed straight away. So, like I said, there's a scary chases. And again, there's quite a number of them as well. It's ones where you really feel like you are that character in the game and you have to run because and the only one that most people would say would be the bear from Condemned 2. And if you've seen gameplay footage of that, you know what I'm talking about. And it chases you throughout the whole game. And but yeah,
the
whole level. Sorry,
it's not like you wake up at the very beginning and the bear is like, "Hey, then." Just chase you. But it'll politely wait for you during the cutscenes, of course.
Oh yeah, it would. Makes an appearance in Condemned 3 as well. No, okay.
Special guest star cameo
Yeah.
Yeah.
featuring the bear as the bear.
Well, I
My
suppose,
bear is ripped.
I suppose we could also work on there's the good ones would be horror indie games. Again, I don't know yet whether that's a good idea or not. Because we in the scary horror games, people complain that we put too many indie games mixed with real games. If you get what I mean, and they didn't.
Game's
like
a
that.
fucking game. Fuck
Exactly. And
Yeah, it's a. Oh,
It's
well,
not like
I
we
mean,
said top 10 like AAA horror games or something like that.
yeah, we still get all that negative response. And Slender shouldn't be number 3. It's overrated. I mean, yeah, now it is, but back
Yeah,
then.
well, when it first came out, it was an original thing. It was cool.
Yeah, that's right. When it first came out, it was different, way beyond anything that anyone else had done. And then because now the generations,
I think that kind of overcuts. I think it was just it was a familiar concept introduced in a cool way, featuring a creepy as hell character that a lot of the general populace hadn't heard about. Obviously, internet geeks had, and that's why I played the game because I was a fan of the creepypasta. And so naturally having a game based off of it was pretty neat. But then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Slender, I'm a big fan." It's like, dude, you just found out about the game. And then of course you have the fuck asses like PewDiePie and fucking Markiplier. All these people are like, "The scariest game ever." And number one on YouTube, fucking PewDiePie is, and I'm like, all it is like, what?
What's PewDiePie? Is he at 14 million or 15 million?
I don't know.
All I know is that the amount of subs is too damn high.
But he doesn't need. He can just play the game. He doesn't need the face cam. I mean,
Yeah, he needs 4,000 units of scare cam technology.
I mean, I don't hate the guy. I'm neutral about the guy, but I just think he doesn't need to have the face cam. I mean, he can just do the game as it is.
To me, his thing is all about like, oh, well, watch me play this game and scream like a girl. I mean, obviously, I understand why people enjoy watching horror LPs because of that reason.
Reactions, yeah. People
but to him, it's all like, okay, what's this? What's this? Oh my god! And, it's like, oh shit, I'm getting mutilated in my game I'm playing. But it's like, okay, like me, yeah, I'll play horror games, and if I get scared, I get scared. But I make my Let's Plays to entertain people, and also, have them get to know me. It's not like, oh, I'm just this bitch who's gonna scream. No, I'm a fellow gamer, and I want people to enjoy my content along with me. But... And with Markiplier, every video he's got, it's like scariest game ever? 3 question marks? It's like, no, every game still can't be the scariest game ever. It's like, yeah, or it's exclamation marks. So it's just become a gimmick, and it's not entertaining because it's the same thing over and over and over. Come at me, America.
Yeah, and there's loads of people who are jumping on the bandwagon now, doing their own horror games or Let's Plays, but they have guests in it, and they play the game for the first time. And when you play in a horror game with a guest, you're not gonna be scared, are you? You know, I mean, there's some people that over-exaggerate when they see something like a shock value in a game.
I know. I played Outlast with Janine, and it was plenty scary. But I admit that
when you
would
talk
have
to
been
someone
scary.
else when playing it, you're not gonna feel that scared. You know.
Yeah, because part of it is the feeling of isolation.
Exactly. When you play a game by yourself and you're really into the game, and
Yeah.
you do get that immersion feeling.
But what I hate is just like people who are like, oh, to all Let's Plays, like, oh, you're a copy of fucking PewDiePie. No, PewDiePie just copied every other LPer that's ever existed since LP started in like 05.
Yeah, and that's the thing with horror games now. Yeah.
I don't have much of an opinion on PewDiePie. Like
Wait, I got my opinion right here. You ready?
Yeah. What? Oh boy.
It's my fucking opinion.
Oh boy.
And you just stirred up a shitstorm.
I don't know. I'm looking at the list of so PewDiePie has. It looks like YouTube Spotlight is about to eclipse that based on their projections. It's the top 100 most subscribed to channels on YouTube, and it looks like Rooster. So these are all pretty famous. I'm not surprised by any of this. These are all pretty good YouTubers.
Yes, Fred's on there, right?
I'm not.
No,
I'm not
I don't
seeing
think
Fred.
Nobody knows who Fred is anymore.
Yeah, he just like disappeared.
I got a bit of advice. Whoever coined the phrase "quiet as a mouse" has never stepped on one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go on. Yeah, Fred was a fucking stupid gimmick back in like.
Who used his
09.
basically recorded himself and then stuck his video into Windows Movie Maker and sped it up.
Sped it up, yeah. And that became famous. I guess that just goes to show how, like, basically appealing to the lowest common denominator and all the idiots of the world will make you famous.
Yeah, I mean,
look at pop music.
But that's all he did. I'm not hating the guy, but that's all he did. And there's loads of people out there that does better work than he does that don't get that sort of claim.
That does better work?
Yeah, that does a lot. Well, I'm saying better.
Do better work.
Whatever. I can't speak English properly.
It kind of seems though. It's viral videos, the things that start people's channels, it seems, just kind of happen by chance. I mean, look at What Does the Fox Say? I mean, that's a great song, but it has over 100 million views. I mean, was anyone expecting that to be one of the most viewed videos in all of September of 2013? I don't think they were. It kind of happens by chance.
Yeah.
The thing is, it wasn't like even supposed to be. It was like related to their comedy show.
Yeah.
Up in Norway.
And guys like PewDiePie or Rooster Teeth or all these Let's Players, there's got to be something that sets them up, because there's Let's Plays. It seems millions of them out there. They just they have to have something that sets them apart from everyone else.
I mean, I'm a Let's Player.
Yeah, and I have my own gaming channel as well, so they just have something. But oh well, I guess that's a debate for another day.
I think some of these people just got lucky, but it is a debate for another day. I don't feel like getting into all that, because I feel like I've stirred up a shitstorm in the comments by mentioning that, because all these people are gonna be like, "Oh, fuck you, PewDiePie's amazing."
You are entitled to your opinion.
That's it, isn't it? Opinion. That's what I say. That's basically, again, if you guys keep on subscribing, your opinion. If you want to do that, go ahead. Kenshin's opinion if he doesn't like PewDiePie. His opinion. We're gonna do
I'm unsubscribing because you like PewDiePie.
It's just some people have very aggressive opinions, and if you disagree with it, they're gonna try to force that on you. I mean, I don't know. It's
they're probably going to say unsubscribe because of what you said about PewDiePie, but then that's what most of the messages that I receive on the videos is that I'm unsubscribed, and I'm like, why? And that's it. They don't reply back. If they give a valid reason why you unsubscribe, and a decent explanation instead of insulting everyone, then
why do you feel the need to tell someone that? Like, it's like,
I had one today.
A post one day, and just like the postman hands it to you, you open it up, and it's like, "Dear Tats, I am unsubscribing," and that just ends. It's like, that's
faithful
what it is.
My faithful subscriber.
If I may interrupt, furthermore, you may tell us that you're going to unsubscribe, but the thing is, why would we care?
Exactly.
I mean, we
They're just doing
still
it to shock
get, I mean, like, what? How much do we get? Like 10,000 subscribers every 2 weeks or so. I mean, like, it doesn't really go down just because you say you're unsubscribing.
But it's like it's like official. It's like I hate these people so much that I will not be at rest until I tell them I'm unsubscribing and advise them of my hatred. Like there was one person who was like, what was it? We read their comment on the last podcast when it
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
he actually subscribed back to us again, apparently.
he's like, because of that scary video, I feel the need to unsubscribe. Maybe one day I can.
I'm afraid we're gonna lose him again due to this video.
No, he's cool. He sent me a message a while back actually about the podcast, and I actually
What do you
replied to him.
say?
No, I don't know what it is, but he's a nice guy. I replied to him and I said, "Well, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy it." So
We're gonna lose him again after this video.
Why?
Because this is our creepy video.
Now that Tinker is unfortunately back, and I am spraying whipped cream on my tits.
Alright.
Tinker, tell us about
Oh,
your
here we
favorite
go.
Creepy stories.
No,
favorite horror
scariest video game.
Well, favorite horror game, but there wasn't really many horror games that I played that actually scared me. I didn't really like Amnesia. However, when I was younger and I first saw my eyes on Time Splitters 2, I remember renting it from the video store and coming home, popping it in the Xbox or PS2. I don't remember what we were using back then, but yeah, I popped it in, and like the first level was like a zombie level, and me being 4 to 6 years old, it scared the hell out of me and instilled my fear of zombies that would not go away until I was like 13.
So that was the Siberian level.
Yeah, that Siberian
Second game. Yeah.
Yeah, that Siberian mission. It looked cool until the zombies started coming in and they scared the living shit out of me. And when Time Splitters Future Perfect came out, I mean, Jesus Christ, I couldn't get through that mission. I had to get my brother to do it. It was funny.
If you lost your nut on the first level, what was your reaction on the third level when you had to go to Notre Dame?
Oh, I didn't get that far.
Oh, because that level was just infested with them, so...
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get that far.
I'm glad you didn't get that far. Being a mental ward.
I actually have an interesting story to tell about a scary experience I had that
Games or real life?
It's related to games.
Okay.
But it was terrifying, and it's kind of funny. It's somewhat reminiscent of Tinker's story in effect, but not as gay. It's actually much more gay. First time I played like a violent game, shooter game. Wait. It was Did you guys like that?
No response, so obviously no. So just carry on.
Okay. It was for Christmas. It was a Star Wars game, actually. I was maybe 5, 6, 7 years old. I don't know. It was a Star Wars game because I was and is a Star Wars fanboy, and so my parents got me Star Wars Dark Forces 2. And I had no idea what I was in for with this. I just, okay, whatever, Star Wars game, awesome, sweet. And of course, little did I know that it was the really awesome game that it turned out to be. And so the game starts, I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, and then you get the intro cutscene, and in the Dark Forces games, like, the cutscenes were, like, fully acted and stuff, like, as if they were a part of a movie, you know, real actors, real filming and stuff like that, and it was done, like, up to Lucas quality. And in the first scene, the main bad guy of the game, Jarek, like, he captures this Jedi named Ron, and asks him about this place called the Valley of the Jedi, blah, blah, blah. Ron tries to break out, and he, like, cuts a dude in half, and then Jarek, like, paralyzes him and kills him. And, I mean, obviously it all looked pretty badass, but here's me, 8-year-old me, seeing this, and I'm getting freaked out. I'm like, oh my god, Star Wars was never this intense. And it's a clusterfuck, but I'm like, okay, well, whatever, you know, bit intense intro, but whatever. And then you get another cutscene, the intro cutscene to the first level, the double cross on Nar Shaddaa. And it starts off with the main character, Kyle Katarn. He's watching a holograph video of him and his father, blah, blah, blah. His father was a Jedi, but Katarn is a mercenary, on and on and on. There's this robot who's antagonist for the first half of the game named AT-88. And he works for the Sith, as we find out. And basically, he sells out Kyle to his mercs because he works for Jarek. Jarek wants Kyle dead. And so, and then the their gran, actually, they point a gun at Kyle's head and start like threatening him and stuff. Again, 8-year-old me, I'm like, oh my god. And so he grabs the gun from one of them, throws him on the table, points the gun at him, and he's like, I'm not planning on leaving. I have some information I need to get from your friend 88. And then it gets into the game, and I like that they add the extra detail of the fact that now the gran, like, he convulses a little bit on the table and goes out unconscious. So I get into the game, and I see this thing, and I didn't realize it was the Gran, because actually in the first version of the game they screwed up and used the model of a Tusken Raider for the corpse. Tusken Raiders didn't show up until 3 levels in, and so I'm like, oh my god. And so this thing's like, and I'm like shooting at it because they give you a pistol to start with. I'm like, oh my god, I just killed this thing. And then the game added a cool detail of having civilians in the game, and depending on how you behave towards them, you could leave them alone.
I know where this is going, and you wanted to murder every single one of them.
I did.
We know you too well.
But I didn't know at the time. I didn't understand that this guy was a civilian. I thought he was like some bad guy or something. So he's standing around, and he's like, I don't want any trouble. I'm like booting him around by walking at him and stuff. And so I shoot him, and he dies. He's like, oh, boom! And his corpse hits the ground with this like loud thud. And I'm like, oh my god, I just killed an innocent man. And I was freaking out.
And then Sonic came out of your TV and killed you.
No. And so then I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right.
It's okay. You can tell us.
Yeah, and so
You're
then
not
I'm
gonna get
like,
arrested, don't worry.
I'm like, I need to press on.
It's okay to be a ghost. We won't call it Ghostbusters.
I go into the next room, and that's where the first 2 enemies of the game are. And they're both Gran, and they got, E11 blasters, which is, your pretty much your assault rifle for the game. Not fully automatic, it's just your normal gun. But I get in there, and they start shooting at me. I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting shot at. And I'm screaming, I'm freaking out, I'm shooting at them. I don't even know, I'm running through the level. Like, I start shooting at windows and hitting myself because of the ricochet. I'm getting scared that my shields are going down, so my screen's changing all kind of colors, green and yellow and red when it's hurting my health. I'm running, I fall off a ledge, and I fall here, and I kill this guy, and I'm screaming, freaking out. There's a fan up in the ceiling, and a Rhodian drops through it, and I'm shitting my pants here, because I'm getting shot at, I'm killing people, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the most traumatizing thing in the world. And I didn't touch the game for probably another year, half a year, and then when I went into it again, I discovered that it was an absolutely incredible game. I was too scared of the single player, so what I would do, I would literally just play the multiplayer, but not like actual, like the multiplayer itself, because that was back when I had 56K, and it wasn't even 56K, it was like 24K. And so I would literally play on multiplayer maps alone by myself, making up my own stories and just shooting at shit with no other people, because I didn't know how to connect to a server. I was fucking 8 years old, for God's sake. And so I would just walk around by myself on multiplayer maps, because convincing myself I was entertained by it, playing capture the flag matches by myself because I was too scared to play the real game.
Hey, Tats, I have a floor meeting going around on my campus. The World Series was last night, and since we live in Massachusetts, the campus kind of got crazy. So is it alright if I got to drop out for like 20 minutes, and can I come back in? Or
that should be okay. I don't see how that's a problem.
All right, man.
The door's just on your right there if you want to head out that way.
Don't let it hit your ass on the way out.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Watch out for the cleaning lady. She's on the left-hand side there.
Watch out for the spikes on the other end of the door that will...
Yeah, she shouted some pretty mean things at me.
On the way in.
She shouted some mean things at you? But she just point her ass at you and like scream insults out her ass?
All right, you guys, I'll be back.
Okay, then. It's cool.
I've never really screamed at a movie or anything like that. I'm like, whenever I watch a horror movie, I'm that guy going like, oh shit, oh hell no. I'm not even kidding, I will do that. I'll be like, I'll be silent in there, and that will be me, and everyone will laugh. It happened during, what was it? The, what's that movie? It was a remake of a very popular, spoof movie that was about horror.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably something dead. Evil Dead. Yeah, it was Evil Dead remake. I was like, oh hell no, oh no, oh no, this shit's fucked up. You know, I mean, like, if you see a book where the binding is made out of human skin, you don't touch that shit. You put it into a fire and you hope to never see it again.
True.
You know, I mean, like, that's just common sense. You don't sit there and read it out loud. And, like, read it in your head at least. I mean, like, Tats, when you're alone in a room, do you read books out loud?
I whisper them out loud. I've always done it. I don't know why. I just have. It makes me feel as if you are God in that sense, or you are actually portraying it. You feel as if you're that character. So I've always done that ever since I was young. I used to read books out, well, usually out loud or just whisper them, so I don't feel like an idiot in a public place.
Oh shit.
Kenshin.
Yeah.
I remember one time when I had amnesia. And in the beginning of the game, there's that little...
Wait, you remember your amnesia?
Yes, I remember. I remember I have amnesia. Anyway, in the beginning of the game, there's this like very early on, there's this level where you have to part where you have to keep on stepping on boxes or something to avoid
it's with the Karanek.
Yeah, to avoid that little water monster.
The Karanek.
Later in the game, you get to this weird sewer setting, and my friend, who's being a dick to me into the Skype call, decides to tell me that the Karanek is in the water too. In that area,
but it is.
If you have enough, I learned later that if you have enough insanity, yeah.
Yeah, if your sanity's low enough, the Karanek will be there.
Yeah. However, he told me later that he was bullshitting me, but anyway, he told me there, and I'm sitting there walking across the things, and I would get into the water, and I would scare the shit out of myself because I would start running while I'm in there, and I would mistake my own footsteps. Yeah, I would mistake my own footsteps for the Karanek, and I would be screaming and like pissing my pants during that part. That's like the only time the game legitimately scared me, and that was due to a practical joke my friend was playing on me.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you're normal sanity, like, okay, maybe a little bit of a headache, you'll be fine. If you're middle sanity, like, you're kind of getting there, you know, hands shaking, you'll see a hallucination. You'll see the Karanek walk, but he won't be there. If you're ... the Karanek will be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I learned that later, though. But, yeah, that scared the hell out of me. I didn't really find amnesia all that scary until I got to that part. I mean, like, I think the key to horror, actually, is more about, actually leaving it up to the player's mind or the viewer's mind to scare themselves, because to be honest, I think we can scare ourselves a hell of a lot better than a movie can or some cheesy CGI effect.
That's why
looking at you, Mama.
Because me, Amnesia did that pretty well. The Gatherers served as a scare, but to me, what made me like Amnesia the most was just by the end of it how fucked up the story got. That's what I liked.
That story, the ending was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 endings.
Yeah. I can't remember which one I got, but I don't care.
I chose the one where you throw the dude's head into the portal.
Spoilers? Jesus, I haven't even beaten it yet.
It doesn't. Well, that doesn't tell you much of anything, dude.
I know. I already know. I pretty much know. I saw some Let's Play of it.
I mean, come on. If you're watching this, you've probably seen some Let's Play of it or something like that.
Even if you haven't, that literally means nothing to you.
Anyway, I'm trying to think here of another...
Yes, what's your scariest moment when you were playing a video game?
I did have one, actually, and I completely forgot it now. I was just about to say it, and... right, yeah. There was 2. And one of them was that those damn mannequins from Bioshock. The plaster,
you mean the plaster mannequins?
Plaster splicers, yeah. There's a bit when you go to Fort Frolic, I believe, and you go down these set of stairs.
That's my favorite level in Bioshock.
It is now my favorite level, but you didn't know, because this is before I played Condemned, see, so, and...
Really?
Yeah, and I went down there, and you see there's that tonic down there, and you go down there, and you pick it up, and you turn around, and you think, oh, there's a mannequin. I don't remember that being there. And then you're like, okay, turn the corner, there's another one. You're like, what the hell's going on? And then you're like, okay, and then what, are these real? And then you walk up to them, and they come alive, and then they start doing these acrobatic gymnastic things in front of you, like shit. And then they treat everything in that game, because everything in that level is some sort of plaster, but you don't know whether they're going to be there or not. You know, and everything is, and there's that part of the toilet. You go in the toilet, and then there's like a whole monument of them just standing there, and you think, are you going to come alive at some point, or are you actually real plaster splicers? You know, So there's that part of the game that freaked me out.
I thought it was freaky when you found a plaster one, and you pick up an audio diary right next to him. Sanders talks about the plaster stuff, and it just whatever you said, I forget what it was, but it just unnerved me so badly.
Hey, I'm back.
Cool.
Hey,
What's up, big black man?
Sorry, I kind of interrupted.
Bioshock. I remember that game.
Bioshock.
I remember when I first rented it.
The statue splicers that look like mannequins in that game. That kind of freaked me out. And again, the second one would be Condemned. Obviously, you know what I'm talking about. The first time you see those mannequins walk off the podium and start attacking you with their breathing. That is kind of freaky.
You're dead.
Yeah, and they start whispering stuff, and you're like, dude, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. I remember Bioshock when I first rented that game. I was it was a bit younger again. I rented it from the Blockbuster.
Wow, this is ancient history, man.
Yeah. And when I first got the game, I heard there was so much stuff about it, about it being scary and stuff like that. So, and the whole, being a little kid, you don't know much about the internet. You don't look at much stuff. All I knew is what XPlay told me.
How old were you?
I can't remember. But yeah, anyway, I was looking at the little
cover
thing. How old are
you
thing.
now? Wait. You're my age, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like 16 in a week or two.
Oh.
Anyway,
so you're 15, so that means you're technically like around 3 years younger than me. So I played Bioshock first when I was 12.
So I was probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah, you were probably like 8 or 9. So okay,
underage.
That's okay. Yeah,
underage. Yeah, I went to go play it, and the first thing I see on the box is that like little girl, that creepy ass little girl, and the giant,
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Yeah, the Big Daddy. And I load up the game, and that first intro sequence, dude, I see that guy's like sitting there. I'm sitting in the beginning. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave that little pod. I sat there for 15 minutes in the little pod, hoping something will happen.
Why'd you play it if you were that young?
I don't know. I was a bad kid. So eventually I got the balls and I turned on the Xbox MP3 player so that I could listen to something that wasn't creepy ass music.
I never understood why people.
It was like some country or something like that. And
God, that's awful.
I would continue at like the slowest pace ever. I'm walking like 2 inches an hour. And eventually, my dad walks in the room and my dad's like, "What are you doing?" I'm going like, "Oh, I'm playing Bioshock." He's going like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have to turn on the music though because it's that freaking scary." He's like, "You should be playing this." I'm going like, "You know what? You're right. Can I play like Oblivion? Because I want to play that game."
I never understood why people found Bioshock scary, but I mean, I can see why.
We put it on the list. I mean, it's not like it is.
I mean, if I were to play it now, I wouldn't find it scary. But being that young with a zombie, I thought splicers were zombies, and that would just like. Done deal.
Might as well. Say it was, back then it was like we said in the scary horror games, it does have scary moments, but like I said, we re-update the scary horror games. We're not going to put Bioshock on there.
I think the concept of Bioshock is the scary.
Yeah, that's terrifying, but
like
the idea of the game.
Yeah, that's the terrifying thing. How humans could become mutated into just that.
What's scary to me is Ayn Rand's beliefs.
Ayn Rand is scary. But
she is a scary lady. She looks like my math teacher.
I think Ayn Rand's a dude.
Off topic. Stay on one topic.
Wait, is Ayn Rand a dude or a chick?
No, it's a girl.
Really? Okay. Well, the only thing about Bioshock that ever scared me was the first teaser trailer for it. It was one that was shot in first person, where assumedly Jack tries to harvest little sister and stuff like that, and he gets the shit beat out of him by a Big Daddy.
Yeah, the CGI trailer. Yeah,
gets a drill through his hand. He sticks the plasma in him, shoots the insects off.
Yeah,
and then in the end gets a drill through the stomach. At the time, I wasn't that much of a gore hound, so that just traumatized me. I was like, this is so awful.
Yeah, because back then we didn't really see that much,
Yeah, I was like,
I mean, like the best we got was like those cartoony gory games, that were very cartoony, but that was like realistic for its time,
Well, I mean, by then Soldier of Fortune shit had come out, but we were coming of age in the video game world where we were learning of violent video games.
Yeah. And I only started playing violent video games when I was 18. Literally, I was back then, Grand
I
Theft
started
Auto
when I was
and
like 12.
Grand Theft Auto and Death Rally used to scare the crap out of me, and I would not touch them. Even Red Alert scared me. I don't know how that even works.
Why did
I
Grand
grew
Theft
up in
Auto
Grand
scare you?
Theft Auto, so it's okay.
It just, to
Like,
me, when I used to
because
watch...
the cops would chase you?
When I used to play Grand Theft Auto or even see someone play it, it just felt... and this sounds so stupid it is, but back then it used to feel real, because the way
You
people
felt bad.
reacted, the traffic, how they... you never seen stuff like that before in a game like that. Top-down perspective in a city that looked like it could be real, with all these people in it, you could get all this stuff happening. To me, it just felt, real and stuff, and that's why I didn't like the fact that you had the freedom to do what you want and stuff. I didn't really like that, so it kind of freaked me out. And it's only now when I recently
So you
played
are so you're definitely a bottom then.
I want.
What? Nah. I remember similar to that. When I was younger, when I first saw Adult Swim, I couldn't get 5 minutes into it. Like, first off, you would be watching like Cartoon Network, like Pokemon or something like that, and then it would like end, and then all you would see is this black screen with the like white lettering. It was just creepy. I had no idea what the hell this was. And then the thing that proceeded after that was like two gangster dudes like stabbing each other. I think it was like Adventure Bros or something. I don't know. All I saw was like two people like stabbing each other, talking in like Spanish, and that was scary as hell. I just turned it off. I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to stay up late anymore.
We shifted over to scary cartoons and movies now, aren't we, from games?
Well, what scared me was actually I'm not sure if any of you ever watched oh god. I'm not sure if any of you ever watched Bill Nye the Science Guy growing up.
Yeah,
your mom's a guy.
Never in England, unfortunately.
But he would always end his episodes with a song that was typically a parody of a pre-existing song. He parodied The Police. He parodied I can't think of anything else. He parodied a lot of good stuff. And some of the songs actually, I don't know what it was. They scared me. I don't know what it was. It was the music video for it, the song. I don't know. It scared me, and I would literally get scared to the point where my mom had like 7 episodes on VHS of Bill Nye for me, and I would watch like 4 of those. No, I watched 5 of those because the 6th one's ending song scared me, and I would never get past it, and I was never able to see the episodes that were beyond it until I finally worked my way up to doing it.
Yeah, Teletubbies scared me when I was very young. The vacuum.
Inky Winky.
I would get to the part where that vacuum would come in, and I would just be like, hell no. Just no.
Naughty no.
Oh, just the vacuum, though. I mean, like, seriously, what the hell is that thing?
It's Nunu.
I don't know.
It's a...
What's scary is seeing a disembodied baby's head as the sun, laughing all the time. Jesus.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like that show's on drugs.
Who here has seen The Conjuring?
I saw that.
Actually, something that's actually interesting.
Harrisville.
Is fuck Tinker. Now that we talked about scary video games and like that, scary experiences, how about, in honor of Halloween especially, favorite horror movie? I feel that's a good refresher of the discussion. Any of you want to take it first? I'll say
straight off the bat, I can think of 2 that I really liked. 13 Ghosts, still one of my favourite films of all time, and that's the one where the family has this, they get it from their uncle apparently, who's like, it's like some sort of glass house, and what they don't know is that in the basement there's actually ghosts in there, like from different eras. And that's where I'm going to leave that there. I really like that film. That was good. The other film is it's all done via camcorder. You guys may remember it as Rec, R-E-C.
Oh, I love Rec.
It is dubbed. It's all Spanish, but it is dubbed in English.
I watched
I think it's really good. The 2, Rec 2, and I think there's a third one. Don't know much about it, but the Rec 2 I didn't find very good. But Rec 1 is a definite must because it is scary. There is the camera does get chased a lot, and you just don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of jump scares in it as well, and I recommend that film. But Rec is really good.
To people who would wonder,
and don't watch Quarantine because that's the American remake.
That's what I was going to say. As for Americans who aren't familiar, Quarantine is the American remake, and if you hated Quarantine or you liked Quarantine, either way, I'd recommend giving Rec a try because it's much better. So, Tinker or NDL, whatever you guys.
I'll take the reins on this one.
I'll give it to Tinker.
Yeah, I remember 2 movies. When I was younger, just because when I was younger I watched this one without my dad knowing, they had a little TV premiere of 28 Days Later. And
oh, man.
I love that
Oh,
movie.
man.
It scared the hell out of me. Again,
It's a
my
great
major
movie.
fear is zombies, and the reason why I thought splicers were zombies is because in this movie they were Speedy
I guess I'll
Gonzalez,
be right back. Talk.
I
Yeah.
believe. And yeah, I love 28 Days Later.
The
And
28 weeks later wasn't that good. I didn't like that much. But 28 days later, I think, was still the best.
yeah,
I
and
saw
then I
Birds
after
Movies.
that, if you're gonna talk about recent times, The Conjuring. That movie is probably the best horror movie to come out within the last 3-4 years. There isn't really that many good stuff out there nowadays because we got CGI, but I'm just gonna say that The Conjuring leaves a lot to the mind, and there is no real CGI crap or stupid fake looking stuff. Most of the horror is done through what you believe, what's not there, and it scared the hell out of me. I mean, I was watching with my mom a few days ago. She screamed at a part.
Nice.
Want to play hide and clap?
Oh God. And if you
Scared the hell
don't
out of me when
mind-
she screamed.
I was gonna say, Tinker, if you don't mind me going with that, I have two fresh in my mind right now, and one
Yeah,
of
go
them
for it.
is The Conjuring, because I'm from New England, and these New England horror films kind of stick with me. The Conjuring and The Haunting in Connecticut.
Oh, Haunting in Connecticut. That was a great movie.
I thought it was a terrible movie, but it did its work in at least scaring me, because it doesn't take a lot to scare me. And
Tinker shut down.
I'm back. I was
Considering
just
your
eating some more
model, NDL, is a vampire lord, which is quite funny.
yeah,
food. All right, so Tinker,
kind of
what were your-
ironic right there.
what was the other one? I heard 28 Days Later. And
28
so,
Days
yeah.
Later and The Conjuring.
And
Alright.
NDL's is The Conjuring as well. He said he liked
Yeah,
that.
The
Alright,
Conjuring
yeah.
is a really good one.
The scary parts actually scared me twice, even doing a rewatch.
I
Alright,
also
yeah.
would like to say one more that I liked, and that was Cabin in the Woods. I like that film.
Oh,
I don't know
that
if you
was
would
a
count
parody.
that as a horror movie.
Everyone
Yeah.
seems to like the cat, but I wasn't a huge.
It wasn't
fan
really.
of it,
It's
but-
not supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be a parody of all these crappy movies that are coming
But-
out.
Yeah,
But
it
an
was
intelligent
good.
parody.
It was sort of a twist on it, That's what I liked about that.
If,
You think it's gonna be been there, done, but then it takes this unnatural.
Yeah, it's an intelligent parody and satire.
Mhm.
Shaun the
Yeah,
Dead
sorry,
was
I
good
believe-
too. If we're gonna talk parody.
Comedic thing.
I had to go and get some more food because I got a sub from Wegmans. I had the second half downstairs. But all right, well, I imagine everyone would want to know what Kenshin's favorite horror movie is, considering how fearless he is.
No one cares.
Human Centipede. No, Anakin.
Oh,
I'm
fuck
calling it
that.
human.
Yeah, shit.
The only scary. My friend says the only scary thing about the Human Centipede is the acting.
I'd agree.
Actually,
the fact
I
that
think
that
the
surgeon can
idea
actually
of
be
getting your
fun.
mouth sewn onto someone's anus is pretty scary. Not because the movie said it's scary, just because. I mean,
It's
if you think,
disturbing.
if you had to get your mouth sewn onto someone's anus, I mean, that sounds like something that your friend would dare you to do.
When you're drunk.
Yeah, exactly. And then
But
you
no,
go
fuck-
no, that would never happen. But then this
Like,
movie is like, you
dude.
know what? We're gonna do that.
All right, so fuck that movie. But I have
Dude,
three.
want to know what would be a great movie?
I was
What
fucking-
is it, bro? If we saw.
If we want.
If we sew
keep going.
mouths onto people's anuses and then made
Yeah,
it a
bro.
movie, everyone will watch
Bro.
it.
Yeah, bro.
Let's fucking do it.
Oh
Pass me the ball. All right, Kenshin, as you were saying.
My
Yeah,
three.
catch it.
My favorite horror movies. There's three of them. Two are of the same franchise. I like the Hellraiser movies. Hellraiser 1 and Hellraiser 2, Hellbound. The rest can just go fuck themselves. Have you guys seen Hellraiser?
I
Vaguely,
have
all I know is that's Pinhead.
recently. I've been spoiled by modern day, effects. But yeah, I can see how it could be scary back then.
Dude, okay. I watched it last year. I wasn't scared by it, but I thought it was great. It came out in '84, I think, and the sequel came out not too long after, and I think the effects in that movie were better than some today.
Yeah, they didn't use a stupid CGI crap.
Yeah, Hellraiser was a very original concept because it wasn't, you didn't have smart-ass Freddy Krueger, or you didn't have, unknowing, well, not unknowing, but you didn't have like bad guy who never talked, never had personality, just kill, kill, kill. Pinhead and the other Cenobites, like especially Pinhead, they displayed signs of intelligence and like ability of deception and reasoning. Like they were actually like they were solid enemies characters, and their designs were so cool, and the stories they told were complicated. Well, I mean complicated by horror movie standards of the time. I mean the Cenobites, Pinhead, Chatter, the female, Butterball, like they had like the sadomasochism, bondage, leather stuff going on, pain, pleasure thing, and they were creepy. I mean, they had the chains and everything, and they were like demonic. It was just so badass. The first one was awesome, and the second one I think was even more awesome, purely because it just seriously took everything that made the first one great and made it even better, just up to the gore, up to the intensity, and it was awesome. I loved it. And and it's not even like an entirely thing where like you watch a Freddy movie or a Jason movie, it's like damn, that's stupid. It's like okay, whatever, stupid entertainment. To me, I found Hellraiser to be actually like not scary per se because it doesn't scare me, but it was actually a compelling watch. And so those two are favorites, but probably my favorite horror movie, just basic as horror, is one that I guarantee you guys haven't heard about, and it's a shame because it's a great movie. It's called I Never Left the White Room. You guys probably never heard of it. You probably wouldn't because it's an indie horror, low budget film.
Can you tell me about it? I may have heard of it. Sounds familiar.
It's basically, it's pretty much almost all the acting is done by one guy. There's a couple other actors, maybe 3 other actors, but it's mainly on one guy, the same guy who directed it as well. And the idea is he's in asylum for, as we learn, murder. And at the very beginning of the movie, we see him that he had a razor, just a small little razor that he had snuck into his cell with him. And he takes it out and he cuts his wrist and he starts bleeding and stuff. And so from there, we assume that either through the rest of the movie, he's dying and seeing these things, or this is him journeying through hell. I believe it's the latter, him journeying through hell, because after he dies, he starts seeing all these strange things, these hallucinations, and goes on these. He ends up like crawling out through a hole in the corner of his cell and starts going all these strange dimensions and weird things, reliving memories in distorted ways. And the thing that gets me about it, it's low budget, but it makes amazing use of its what it does have. The audio is creepy and haunting. There's a lot of voices over things, a lot of creepy chanting. There's a filter effect applied over almost every shot to make it feel like a nightmare-like experience. And it's only about an hour long, so it doesn't outstay its welcome. And as you learn just how fucked up this guy was and explore his hell along with him and find out about him and the people around him and what led up to what ultimately happened, and it's not like oh my god, what did he do? It's just oh my god, this guy's fucked up. How much more fucked up can he get? He's traveling through his hell. You understand who he is and what he did, and it's just like this guy's fucked. And then you see the people around him, how fucked up they are. It's a little bit gory at times, not too much, but the fact that it draws you in and keeps you there because it's extremely psychologically based. It's not like boo, it's like oh my god, this is really weird, this is really fucking creepy. It gets you like that, and it's awesome. It feels like a nightmare put on video. It's like I said, it's a low budget indie thing, so you have to get it from the director's site if you want it. I highly recommend it. It's amazing. It's creepy. There's actually a jump scare in it that got me, totally unexpected, but it's creepy, paced well. It's visually, it's awesome because it just fucks with your head. Not for epileptics for sure. It's trippy, it's bizarre, and it's amazing.
If we're gonna talk about a more of an indie film, a movie that I saw a while back was called I think it was called The Killing Room, and that's what I thought you were talking about at first.
It's The Killing.
Well, basically, the movie starts out with like a bunch of guys like just signing up for this like government ad to basically answer a few questions. They're surveying to get like $200. Simple deal, right? But then this movie, like right out of the back, pulls this 180. The person's like, "All right, so I'm going to ask you the first question. How many of you finish your thing?" And then everyone raises their hand and going like, "Done." Okay, the guy pulls out a gun, shoots one of them in the head, and then walks out of the room and locks the door. over the intercom, you
quickly.
hear like a Saw-esque voice. It's like, every 10 minutes, we're gonna ask you a question. Whoever gets it wrong will be killed.
That's
And like every 10 minutes, someone gets killed, and it's just the way that they handle it and stuff like that. It's a
Was it
great
any good?
movie, and it has the most WTF what the fuck endings ever. I
Right.
mean, like, oh my god, it got me. I remember watching it with my older brother, and
Oh,
dude, we at
watched
the end
it
we're
with
going
your
like,
brother.
what the fuck? Sinister. Have you guys seen Sinister?
I saw that.
No, it does look good though.
Yeah, there was a scene in there where the guy's looking through the tapes, and then one of the tapes was called Sleepy Time. My brother was stoned, and he was
dude.
like, he was like, dude, that Sleepy Time. He's like in a movie theater, going like, is that really Sleepy Time? Holy shit! And that was my brother doing that, and I'm sitting there going like, dude, this is gonna be great. But when I actually saw Sleepy Time, I was like, kind of disappointed.
Well, remember the scene from Sinister where it's right after a build up to a big scare and nothing happens, and like you can see the picture of like the ghost, whatever thing it is, on the computer screen, and it just fucking turns and looks at you.
Oh god.
Everyone in the theater that I was in, I was seeing it with a couple friends, just
And they all
gasped.
screamed.
And a woman just screamed, like she stood up, like, "What is that thing? What is that thing? No one knows what that is." And I'm like, "I don't know," but it was
shut up,
terrifying.
lady.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of that moment when I watched Insidious. The very first thing, this ghost is like, apparently there's. What I liked about Insidious is that there is this part where this lady walks into the baby's room, and she sees, like, at first you don't notice anything, because the thing's like kind of transparent, but like you look at it for a second. Like, I almost missed this at first, but at the very last second I caught it. There's this dude that's just standing over, and then, like, at the last second he looks up and smiles, like, not looking at the lady, but looking at you. And you go like, oh, it scared the living shit out of everyone. I almost missed it. I watched Insidious 5 times. Love that movie.
That's a good one. And since we are on the topic of ghosts and paranormal as such, I figure, since it's Halloween, we'll discuss anything, paranormal related that we've had any possible events occur with us, or that we've experienced or heard others have experienced. You guys got anything?
Do you know about me already?
Yes, Tats, you're going first.
Yeah, Tats, you're going first. I know you do, but I wanted to make it seem like I was being inquisitive. But I know you got some.
Yeah. Right. We are planning on making a top extraordinary human powers and abilities, and
Right. And quick disclaimer, for people who say that, this is bullshit, whatever, just can it. This is just for fun and entertainment. So whether or not it's true, whatever, but it's just for fun. So if you have something to say about it not being real or whatever, no one cares.
But yeah, like I said, when there was something I saw a long time ago. It was to do with magic, or I can't remember what it was. It was something about some movie had it, or some show had it. It was when I was really young as well, and I was really interested in what this sort of supernatural thing was. My dad told me about it, so I was about 7 or maybe 6. I can't remember. I would go to the library. I would study what this was, books about it. There's not much about it. They kept saying not much about it, and I would research more and more into it. Would go to like other areas of the library, other travel everywhere.
What is it?
It's what they call telekinesis, and obviously moving things with your mind. Obviously, it's a very big thing. Some skeptics would say it's not real. Some people would say it is real. There was that thing that said, "Oh, if it is real, James Randi would expose you for it." And the thing is, James Randi, there's people that actually have showed him that it is possible, but he would deny it and say it's fake, and he would even actually apparently walk out of the room because he couldn't prove it. He actually was proven or whatever. So, but anyway, I went and yeah, exactly, rage quit because he know that. So he would refuse to outright hand the money over because he know he's lost. But like I said, this thing about when I researched it about telekinesis, the more I went into it, the more I got excited about it, and the more I thought I'd try it out for myself. And all I can say is yes, it is possible, but not in the level of degree that you might expect. You're not going to like lift someone up or lift a car up or lift.
Not going to be
really
Mr.
heavy.
Magneto.
No, that's not possible. What is possible though is something that is small, like a pen or something, or
Didn't you
anything.
do that thing with the spoon?
Or or that, like I said, but that's to do with heat. That's like heat molecules, nothing to do with. But it's complicated stuff. All I can say is that it's not good for you if you try it. It does exist, I say, but it's not good for you to try it, because when I used to do it, I'd pass out for hours at a time, and you just feel drained and everything, as if you just don't want to move. And I tend not to do it, but I have videos of it that cannot be explained. But that's all I'm going to say. And like I said, there's a really, I haven't done it for a long time, because I try not to, because it makes me feel really depressed when I do it. Drains everything out of you. I'll try, if people want to see a video of it, I can probably...
If you want to make Tats depressed.
Yeah, we all want to torture Tats.
I can
That should
probably
be like
upload it
a
at some
game.
point, I don't know when, but if you guys want to see videos of it, I can show you it.
Fuck yeah, they would.
Yeah, but there's going to be people
I
like,
wanna
it's not
see
real.
these.
But there was a very strange part that happened not too long ago, actually.
Is this where we get to the paranormal?
Yeah, no, it's weird, okay, because I've gone where I work. I'm not gonna say where I work, but it's where I work. There is a
He works
McDonald's
at
place.
Fuckface Incorporated.
There's a there's a McDonald's restaurant next to mine, next to my office place, whatever the hell.
Place of employment.
Place of employment. Yeah, so I go there.
We're
for
going to
my
call it
lunch
Greedy
days,
Corp.
and I've been there. I've been to that place all the time. I go for lunch all the time. I know it's been there for God knows how many years. So I know, and I've got in there, open the door fine, because that's what they do. They're not automatic doors. They're just ones you pull open and stuff. So I'm opening there, get my lunch and everything. Then I go walking out, just about to walk out the door. There's the map there, and all of a sudden, the door opens by itself, and I'm like, okay. I never remember there being an automatic door. And I was like, okay, that can't be right. And I looked around, and I was like, yeah, it's probably one of those, disabled buttons you press. And I was like, I had that grin on, like, yeah, it's probably I was like, well, no, there isn't one there. So why is the other door not open? Why that specific door open? That just one side of the door open? If that was the case, both sides of the door would open. Why just that one side of the door? Because it's one of those double doors. And so I just walked out the door, and then it's still held open, like no one's there. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's gonna close at some point, right? And all these other people walking by as if nothing's happened. I'm like, they see that, right? They obviously see that door is just open by itself. And then I walk away, and then the door goes like that and closes. I'm like, okay, that's a paranormal bit. I'm like, did I do that? Did I make it open myself, or did it just somehow open by itself by a ghost? So that's something that's really bothered me for a couple of months. How that door just opened.
Wow.
If it's not, like I said, if it's not a disabled button on the door, how on earth did that open? Because one of those, it's quite a strong door as well. It's not as if it's a wooden door.
I also don't think it would be open for that long either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like none of the automatic doors. It's just a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, it was about a minute and a half if you were to do it.
They don't stay open that long.
Yeah, it was out for a while, and like, people were just walking through as if casually it was fine, and no one stopped to think, hang on, why is that open like that? Because sometimes you think the door is open. Sometimes if you hold a door and put it on the mat, the door will stay open, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like that, because there's no mat there on the outside.
And it opened by
concrete.
itself.
Exactly, and no one else saw that.
And it wasn't a windy day, was it?
No, it was sunshine. This was during the summer, mind, so I'm
Well,
like...
you can still have wind during the summer.
But this... No, there's no way the wind can physically get to it, because it's not, like I said, it's all...
Oh yeah, it would have, it would have gone outward, and the wind wouldn't have pushed it in.
Yeah, the wind wouldn't have pushed it, because you have to pull the door to actually get into the building.
Because so
there's no physical way. So I'm like, okay, that's
It
creepy.
is the souls of the fat people who had heart attacks in the store.
And if you guys
felt they would
You
transfer-
ordered a Big Mac.
and if you guys get any paranormal things,
Actually, recently I had an incident. It was in the summer, and me and my cousin are walking around our neighborhood, and
Did you poop your pants?
no, I didn't, sadly. And we're walking around. We went up to a local party store that was open at the time. And we go up there and we're walking back. We have some sodas and stuff like that. It's like pitch black in our neighborhood. And as we're walking back, there's this little intersection. Like, you turn left, you go onto the dirt road where my house is on. You keep on going. There is, yeah, it leads around the neighborhood.
However, we saw this, it's like 3 in the morning, and there is this old-looking lady walking her dog. And as we got closer, I'm like, what the fuck is that? And we got closer. She turns around a corner, and, we turn around a corner too, and she's just fucking gone. I mean, like, she didn't look like she looked like Muriel's age. She looked like she was at least in her 70s or 80s.
What if she had a heart attack and collapsed to the ground? You couldn't see her because she was like in pain, dead on the ground.
I know, it was just so creepy because we're walking and all of a sudden we didn't notice it till later, and then we see her and she just walks across, and she's moving abnormally fast for an 80-year-old. By the way, she just moves across, walking her dog. Her dog looks like this black shadowy thingy, and this happened this summer.
Maybe
and
Grim Reaper's wife wanted to just
Smile Dog.
Yeah, Smile. It was Smile Dog, and it was just creepy. And we couldn't find her. We looked for her. We couldn't find her, and yeah.
NDL, what do you got? Do you have Martinker?
No, let's go. NDL,
what do you got?
I don't have really any legitimate experiences because I kind of have a bit of a skeptical viewpoint on it. But the only thing is, back to the whole Honey in Connecticut thing. There's a scene in that movie towards the end where the character looks into a mirror and sees like a black ghost thing, whatever it's supposed to be. I didn't pay much attention to the plot line, but for whatever reason, I go back to the friend's house afterwards, and washing your hands, getting ready for dinner, stuff like that.
You wash your hands before dinner?
I was a kid, so it was just being it's what they did before dinner. I didn't do it at my own house. So yeah, I wanted clean hands before dinner. God.
I want you dirty for me, Mongoose.
And just look into the mirror. I know it was my mind just playing tricks on me, but I could fucking swear you see the thing. I saw the ghost thing in the mirror, and it fucking winked at me, and I'm like, what the what is going on? And I sped downstairs, and they were like, Kevin, did you see the ghost in the mirror? And that's my name, Kevin, not whatever you want to call me, Mongoose Kevin. And
I'm gonna call you Keith Urban.
Keith Urban, okay.
I'll call you that.
When I looked into the mirror again, the ghost wasn't there, so I'm like, yeah, I win.
Bitch.
That's it.
At my old house, at my first house, I used to feel like whenever I went to try to go to bed, there was someone watching me. I couldn't sleep. I would stay up all night, and I would just get this constant feeling. And during the time, too, I got constant night terrors and sleepwalking incidents, and yeah, just a whole ton of things like that. And the funny thing is, the second I move out of that house, all of it ends. Like I don't have night terrors anymore, and I don't have that weird, eerie feeling. At my old house, in my room, it felt oppressive, like there was a weight on your chest, and it felt like that there was just someone just standing there, in the corner or something like that.
Where was your room located?
Well, I was on the top floor in my house, but in my old house, I was the freaking last house in the neighborhood, and my neighborhood was surrounded by this wooded area. So freaking hell, I was like,
yeah, that sounds pretty terrifying in itself.
Yeah, it was surrounded. I'm always surrounded by this woods, and there's only one road that leads in to the neighborhood, and it's a single road until you go all the way to the end, about 15 minutes up the road until you actually reach another road. Other than that, you're just surrounded by woods. So yeah, it was scary as hell. I mean, I had night terrors. Again, all of this ends as soon as I move out. So I don't know how to explain that.
Night terrors do stop once you reach a certain age. It's a psychological thing.
Yeah, but it was an every night thing. Every night I would have one, and then I move out. The day I move out, it just stops.
Well, that is creepy. I have actually a bit of a story to share. Take what you will from it. And after this, there's one other topic I want to address in the topic of scary stuff.
And then we can end this.
Yeah, we're going a bit long, but after I tell my story, there's one more topic I want to get into that I think will actually be pretty good. I'll tell, but my story, um, it happened when I would probably say I was 11, maybe 12 years old. I'm gonna say 12. So I was at my friend's house. Let's just call him Kratnoff, even though it's not his real name. No, he's never gonna watch this. So his name was Jeremy. All right, I was at his house, and we were. It's fucking weird. We were down in his basement, and we were listening to some music and stuff, and he was teaching me how to do some wrestling stuff, and yeah, it was just fine, whatever. And we turned down the TV, and we were just whatever. It was fine, and then we went upstairs afterwards to go get some food, and then we came back down, and turned the TV back on, and it wasn't anything like you could attribute what happened at this point to just being an old TV. But we turn it on, and it's just like white noise static, whereas before it was fine. We were watching the news or whatever. And I'm like, yo, Jeremy, go check upstairs. See if there's problem with the with the incoming signal or whatever. Upstairs, nothing. It was fine. We were like, all right, well maybe it's just because it's downstairs and it's old. And so none of the channels worked. Nothing. We actually ended up we weren't able to turn the damn thing off. But we're like, okay, whatever. And then he says, hey. And I'm like, what? And he's like, when you're 12 years old, you make cool names for shit. Still, like for me. And he called this one place. It was he had this side room in his basement, and if you went along the wall to it, you would go underneath where the stairs were into another room, which was like the room, like the equipment room, the tool room. And obviously in the dark you couldn't tell that, but in the dark you didn't know where you were, so he called it the cave or the sewer or something like that. He's like, hey, you want to go exploring back there? And I'm like, yeah dude, for sure. We didn't, he didn't say, oh there's something back there. He's like, oh, you want to go exploring? I'm like, yeah, sure. Obviously we found out after finding a light source that it was just the other room on the other side of his basement, like a little bunch of silly fucks. But we were back there, and it's in his laundry room, and you had to go around a little bit to where you're against the wall, and you had to side strafe along the wall underneath the stairs into the back of the room on the other side, and it's pitch black in there. And so first time we go through, we kind of get a little freaked out. All right, but we're going. I'm like, hey Jeremy, can we bring some light with us or something? He's like, yeah, we should. And so first thing, sensible, we bring a flashlight. We take it back there. We're going through. I'm holding this. Keep in mind, I insisted to hold every light source we had because I didn't want this kid to try and play fucking tricks on me. So I'm holding this. Flashlight was working fine. We actually had not at this point. We didn't know how old the batteries were. Whatever. So we figured whatever. The flashlight works. So we took it back there. We were working our way back through there. And again, keep in mind, it makes it sound like it's some epic. It's just underneath the stairs, the other side of the basement. And so we're going through there, and we get to a certain point. And the fucking flashlight, it goes dead. And we're just like, son of a bitch. I'm like, you know what? It was probably the batteries. Let's just go put new ones in. Because we couldn't get the damn thing to turn back on. And so we go and put new batteries in. Go back there. Same thing happens. We couldn't get it to turn back on at all, no matter how many new batteries we put in there. So I was like, oh, shit. Maybe the flashlight itself was shot. We didn't know. I obviously understand that could have been an incredible set of coincidences. So then we're like, okay, well, still want to explore. Let's get another light source. So we had like a toy lightsaber, light up when you press the button, lights up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, okay, we'll take that back there. So I go back there. Again, we get to the same spot, and fucking lightsaber goes out. And I didn't press the button, and I just literally, I turned it on. It was on for maybe 5 seconds, and it went out, and I couldn't get the damn thing to start again. We replaced the batteries. Same thing happened. And then I'm like, okay, well, this isn't cool. So I'm like, Jeremy, you got your iPod, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, why don't we just put on some music, whatever you got, and we'll use that for light and something to comfort us. It's like, all right. And so we go back there. Of all things, he puts on Soulja Boy. He puts on some Soulja Boy. And it was the song Report Card. Oh, God. And so we're going back there. We're using that for light. We get around to that point, and iPods, obviously, it's all digital, so songs don't fucking skip. The song starts skipping, like repeating. It's like gets caught on a point, repeats 1 second before it gets caught. It starts looping, skipping. And I was holding it, and I was watching it. And like it was doing that. It was like getting caught at like a certain point in, and it wasn't getting past it. It was always looping that one part. 1 second there, and then, iPod died. And well, I mean, it didn't blow up, but it fucking just powered off and we couldn't get it to turn the fuck back on. And it was, we just couldn't figure out whatever the hell that was, and it just freaked us out because every time, like, obviously our younger age heightened the sense of fear, so we swore that we felt something back there with us because it was an artificially created fear. Perhaps you could chalk it up to that, but I tell you, I felt like there was some cold, oppressive presence there.
That is kind of creepy.
And then what was the
terrifying?
Then what the weirdest thing was, again, it could have been someone fucking around with me, but I brought my cap guns over to his place. We were just, fucking around with them, shooting off caps at each other. And it was time for me to go home. And I had one of them. I had mine. And one Jeremy had, he left it on the floor in the basement, on the table, at the coffee table. And he was with me the whole time, so I know he didn't hide it or anything. And I'm looking for it. I can't find this fucking thing. I'm looking around the basement, and I looked upstairs, and I'm like, where is it? And I'm like, oh, what's in here? And Jeremy's like, oh, that's that's just the workroom. There's nothing in there. But I opened the door, and I'm like, Jeremy, this feels like, I'm thinking, I put it together. I'm like, this is the room that we were going into from behind there. Look, there's the way where we creeped behind the stairs. He's like, huh, oh, okay. He was kind of felt like an idiot. But then, there's the gun on the floor. It's a toy cap gun. It doesn't shoot anything.
Still,
it doesn't shoot anything. It's just it makes the noise. You get a small little explosion from the 2 grains of gunpowder you have in there.
What a ghoulish experience.
It was creepy. I think he could have been fucking with me. Who knows? But as it was creepy. All right. So final thing we can hit for the podcast here, before we wrap it up and all go our respective ways. Tinker reminded me of it when we started talking about it. Some good nightmares you guys have had.
Nightmares.
Yeah, nightmares, night terrors, whatever. Any scary dream experience that you could care to relate. I'd love to hear
I have 2. Remember like that hospital area from Time Splitters Future Perfect? I used to have this dream that we would be like trapped in there and like zombies would get us, but that was like when I was younger. But I had this other dream where I woke up and there was this dude in this purple suit standing over me, and he had an axe in his hand. It was like wearing like white gloves, like you'd see a doctor wearing, and he from what I had, he had like some weird like orange face or something like that. It was unrecognizable. It was like mutilated and shit like that. And then I would like get up out of bed and he would start chasing me around. And I would like go try to find my parents. And when I opened my parents' door, they were dead. Like fucking cut up, all that shit. Just mutilated and dead. I was screaming. I would try to scream. In my mind, I wanted to scream anyway. I would try to scream, but nothing would come out. Like I couldn't talk or anything like that. Like just like air, like huffing, wheezing air, and it felt so real to me. And then I would like run downstairs to try to find my brother, but my brother again.
It's called being fat, Tinker.
Yeah, my brother was dead, and I would run around, and I couldn't find anyone. I was stuck. This is actually when I was like 9.
Okay, just for clarification.
Yeah, again, I couldn't, like every time I tried to speak, all that would come out was wheezing.
That's a characteristic of a lot of nightmares, so,
yeah.
So yeah, I can understand.
It was scary as hell. This dude has this fucking mutilated face, a purple suit that is like pristine and clean, and shit. He was chasing. He was like chasing me, but he was like walking. And then the dream wouldn't end until I let him like hit me. And there's this one funny experience where this reoccurring nightmare happened to me, and he hit me, and then all of a sudden, like as if I was looking at a video game or something, it was like game over, or like you failed. I was like, then I realized it was a dream at that point. But it was good. That's why I don't have that reoccurring nightmare anymore, because of that one funny moment.
NDL, Tats, what do you got for... Oh, do you have another one for us, Tinker? You said you had 2.
Oh yeah, there's this stupid one where I would be chased by zombies in the...
You like zombies, dude.
Yeah, dude, that game scarred me, dude.
Evidently.
I think I remember this one where me and my cousin went out, and there was this wooded area way back when.
Back when you lived in the middle of Slender. Or not. I think he got pulled away by his parents. So in the meantime, we can rejoin his when he comes back. Tats.
Okay. I got them to
fuck
shut up.
you.
Sorry. Anyway,
Back
there
when
was
you lived in
this.
Slender World.
Yeah, me and my cousin and my friend Victor were walking around, and we were doing our own
Victor
thing
Crumb.
outside in the woods, right? And there's this wooded at my cousin's house. There's this area, and there's only one entrance into the woods, and this was through this really dark path. We went in there, and I heard some screaming, and I would come out, and they were all gone. I would try to find them, but no. And then eventually, this led me into weird areas, freaking hospitals and insane asylums and shit. One thing led to another, and I realized that they went mentally insane, and I would wake up, get all sweaty and perspirate and shit.
You said hospitals and what else?
Insane asylums. There was I went to this hospital, and then as I was walking through the hospital, the walls got covered in blood, and there was some dude sitting there in the corner rocking back and forth, going mumbling something I couldn't tell. But the memories of this dream were kind of foggy. It was like a descent into hell.
Yeah, that is.
My friends went crazy, and the dream ends with me getting stabbed and shit like that by my cousin.
It's like you saw the fucking gateway to hell.
Drag me to hell.
No, that was an awful movie.
TM.
Alright, so NDL, Tats, what do you guys got for us?
I've got one, but if NDL's got one,
I don't really. And once again, I don't have much of a. I don't recall my nightmares that well. The only one I do have is from the show Haunting.
Oh, dude, that show was fucking creepy.
And it was, and it was
when
always
I was younger,
kind of
that show fucked me up. I would watch it every night, and just because it was in black and white, I'm I watch Ghost Hunters, not that bad. I watched that, shit my pants.
Haunting wasn't in black and white.
But they were telling the stories.
No.
What
Haunting was it was always basically they turned the story, they did a recreation of the story basically.
Yeah.
I was never
it was really well done.
Oh yeah, I was never afraid of the effects or the dramatizations because I knew it was all kind of fakeish. Just the way they kind of
did
presented
such a good job.
Yeah, then it was probably the narrator that always. It just the way he said things, it scared me. Yeah,
I know what you're saying. In this, there is real evil.
Yeah, in the darkest shadows and in the most ordinary places, something like that. But
yeah. Darkest shadows, most ordinary place. I forget what he says from there, but
something about nightmares.
Become reality.
Tats, what do you got, Tats?
There was a really creepy nightmare I had, where it was a bit like zombies, but I don't know if you would count them as zombies. Basically, what it was, something happened in Britain that made the vast majority of the population. I don't know what it called them though, but all I know is that Arissa was eaten by one. That kind of freaked me out. Arissa, my sister, if anyone wants to know that she has her own channel, yes. But like I said, it was freaky because we actually had to go to this abandoned house. It was just some random house because we had to stay there because we couldn't stay the night. The thing is, you cannot spend the night outside in the open because they get you. Apparently, that's it. That's all we were told. So we ventured into this house, but so we had to spend the night there, but we couldn't go upstairs because this guy said this height. So you can't go upstairs because they're up there. I'm like, what do you mean they're up there? So open the door slightly, and there's about 6 of them, just human beings standing there, but they have their mouth open and their eyes are closed, and that means they're dormant. And it's usually there's just when it becomes nighttime, they become active, but they can't see, so they rely on hearing. That's what this virus does to people. So we had to spend the night downstairs because they're upstairs, but that feeling of that they're up there is and they could come down at any moment.
Sounds a lot like Rack.
The shit out of me. But yeah, they don't run at you, but they're just dormant. They're basically there. They have their mouth open. They're looking up at the sky, but they just have their mouth open. And
They're gonna
just
get you, Tats.
seeing that,
Get
well, imagine what that. They just have their mouth open, looking up into the sky, and they know you're there. You know, it's just. God, that just good. And like I said, they ate Arissa, and that's not a very nice thing to see.
What are you kidding about? That's my fetish. Oh man.
Oh, knowing her, it was probably hers too.
Probably.
Oh.
Heyo.
Oh, Tats, how you gonna take that?
With that being said, moving on.
666. Yeah.
99999.
Yeah.
Six.
The number of the beast.
Alright, so you got any
on this
Kenshin?
video now?
I do. I have I got several, if you guys don't mind. One of them is funny because of its absurdity, and then there's a couple they're more unorthodox besides the most recent one, which was just a very recent dream that could class as a nightmare but didn't scare me but really shook me up. First one I got for you, I'll give you two of them that were they were funny because of their ridiculousness. Let's see. Let me think for a sec. Yeah, okay. The first one, it was dreams that I had frequently when I was in kindergarten and first grade, and before that. They were recurring nightmares that a theme of them did change, but it was the same overarching concept. And when I tell you guys this, you're gonna laugh your ass off about what it is. You ready for this?
Yep.
Ready, man.
A lamp.
What sort of lamp?
It was a lamp that, in my old house, when I lived 10 minutes from where I do now, it was a 3-story house, and to get up to the 3rd story, it was a long staircase, and out of the side of the wall, there was just a lamp to, up the stairwell. But something about the way it looked, just, it scared me. During the day, I wouldn't think too much about it, but I don't know, just something about its aesthetic, it bothered me really badly. I don't know what it was. And I don't know, to me that's kind of funny. I feel it's because it's so stupid. But in my dreams, always in some way, shape, or form, he, Tats, you know this one. I've told you about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can make your joke about it when the time comes. Well, no, actually, because I'll segue into this. And he was, okay, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I would always find myself in varying situations in which I would be in some situation in the house with this thing around. I might be upstairs and Mom might call me down for dinner, or I may be upstairs watching TV or something. But in my dream, always, this lamp, this light, it wouldn't detach from the wall, but it would extend out from the wall. And it would fucking somehow telekinetically, I don't know, it would grab a hold of me and choke me to death. And typically it would either choke me to death, or it would grab me, choke me, and hurl me down the stairs. And this thing, it spoke to me a few times. And when it did, it had literally the voice of a fucking gravel pit. It sounded like basically, like the Daedra from like Oblivion and Skyrim, that really nasty, gravelly, liquidy voice. Yeah, that's what he sounded like. There's this lamp that screams at me in that voice at me in my dreams while he's choking me to death. And the thing is, though, he would occasionally have a mustache, a gray mustache. I don't know why, but and I remember the dream happened so frequently that there were often strange variations of it. A few times, like, I would fall and wake up, but one time I remember I fell and I hit the bottom of the stairs and my neck broke. And I was looking up at him and he was about to come down for me to finish me off. But on the, kind of like what Tinker said, he reminded me of it when it's like the "you have failed." It's on the screen. It felt like a video game now in my dream. It said, like, "You have died. Would you like to reload last save or quit?" And I chose the quit option, and I woke up. It was kind of funny, but that didn't change. it didn't change my fear of him at all, and I would see him fucking every day. And then ultimately, it got really weird, where finally that happened, and I worked up the courage to try and fight back. And it gets weird when I asked him his name, and this isn't the actual joke yet, Tats, about it, but I found there were other appliances around my house that were of a similar nature as well. But this guy, he grabbed hold of me and stuff, and I'm like, "What's your name?" And he, with his his voice was no longer like gravel pit anymore. It sounded much like
NDL's.
Yeah, it was actually. When it wasn't gravel pit, it sounded like NDL's voice, but in a much creepier way. Because
You weren't supposed to find out this way. I'm sorry.
I says, "What's your name?" And he says in this NDL voice, he's like, "I am Seer, the spaceship."
I am NDL, Mongoose.
And then it gets worse. He fucking takes off and starts like going around a planet like I'm floating in space. He's like, "Pew!" And this fucking lamp
Are
is
you
flying.
sure you just tripping on acid or something?
I was 6 years old. So, NDL, Seer, had, counterparts in the house that would also try and get in my nightmares. Namely, the fan in my bedroom. It would try and... Stop. The fan in my bedroom would try and kill me. I always had a dream it too had like a similar kind of face with like the fucking mustache. I don't know what the deal with the fucking mustache was. All these guys had like the same style mustache. I don't know what the deal was.
Mike Dawson.
That was
mustache.
before NDL had his beard.
It's when he just had the mustache. And so that my fan tried to kill me. I always had a dream it was just a ceiling fan.
Blender.
No, actually, you know what the weirdest one though was? An air vent in the basement.
That one I could relate to, because it's in the basement, and
Yeah, I'll send you. I'll send Tats a picture of it. Maybe you could like show what I'm trying to describe, because it's hard to understand unless I actually like specify what it looks like. Okay, it's an air vent. I believe it's where it's the air flows out of. It could be used for heating. It's typically used for heating. I think it could be used for AC as well. Typically, you'll see it like if you look on the ceiling in like a department store, like Target, Walmart, something like that. But typically those are rectangular. It's typically made of plastic. This one was actually circular, but you have one part of it's like a square, and then you have a venting part to it, and then you have another square part in the center. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're like typically a white grayish plastic. You guys know what I'm talking?
Oh, I will, man. All right. It was
some
great
special
podcasting with you guys. I'll see you later. All right.
That's
NDL. That's NDL. Yeah.
That was NDL. All right. I've actually I put a picture into the Skype chat there for you. Picture basically what that is that I've sent you. In a smaller scale and circular. You guys see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There was that, but it had that for a head, but it was also like that's what the body was made out of. Think of like if you make a 3D model in your video game modeling program and you apply that as the texture, that's what it was made out of.
I keep on thinking Optimus Prime. I'm sorry.
But,
like made out of like air vents.
Oh no, he was textured of air vents like that, but he looked like a normal human being, and he would, and he had those on his hands like spinning things like chainsaws, like, and somehow I inherently knew his name, and his name was Codesty.
I should have called him Starship.
He was like, because that's the sunny name. It was like Codesty. And I told Tats this one time a couple years ago, and Tats, how did you go with that one?
My name is Clodist.
I just
yeah, and that's always made Kenshin laugh every time I've done that.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, and so then
why you made that growling noises? I can't remember why.
I don't know. I think I was trying to do the sound that I did just now, but I failed. And so I would have frequent dreams with these with these fuckers in them, and they would always try and kill me. And like one I woke up and like my room was completely in 0G, and like all my stuffed animals were floating around and stuff, and like it looked like there was sunlight beyond my shades.
And
I
the
couldn't
L
tell
was
they were
like
out.
there,
Well, no, actually,
taking you through space.
what was all my animals, all my stuffed animals and my plushies were all looking at me with these angry looks on their faces, and they were yelling at me. I don't remember what, but they were yelling at me, and my clock was floating. It was weird. And then I got up and I was walking through the hallway, and then NDL Seer he was floating around in the stairwell, ready to strike. It was very strange. And then this other dream that I had one time, I used to be obsessed with Egypt and ancient Egypt, stuff like that. And I just had this weird combination of dreams. And it bothered me so bad. And now I'll actually get into a recent dream I had that it's not very unique, but it was intense. I had this dream when I must have been like around the same age, 6. I had like all these fucked up dreams then. It was a combination of weird things. It started off like, you're watching Home and Garden, you see like the home show, stuff like that. Well, I had a dream it was like a home show related, and they're like selling a home, and it's like in this really fancy neighborhood, and they're like, this female narrator is like listing off all the stuff this house has. It's like it has all blah 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 interior, blah blah blah, fully updated kitchen. And it's just like, oh, this is pleasant, green grassy stuff. The house has pillars. Then she's like, and flutes. She keeps on saying flutes over and over and over. I don't know why. I don't have a phobia of flutes.
You have a phobia of NDL taking you to space.
Yeah.
This involves space too, believe it or not. And she's going on and she's like, flutes.
I think the tape recorder broke or something.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. And then it cuts to like the dream hard cuts, and I wasn't necessarily me in the dream, but my view was I was in Egypt from the temple of Abu Simbel, and it was nighttime, and guess who was there? None other but Elmo from fucking Sesame Street. And he's standing there in
If you think NDL taking you to space was scary, wait till I take you. I'll make you count the colors.
I hate you.
He's standing there in like a medieval knight costume. He's got a shield and everything. He's got a sword.
I'm going to chop you up. Yeah, that'd be kind of freaky.
But no, he's just.
Well, someone actually do like a fan art of Elmo in a medieval knight? I bet there is, probably loads of them on
Someone
the
needs to
internet.
do that, like with Kenshin, and then like NDL and I, or like NDL like standing over it with like a freaking like controlling it like a puppet.
And then it gets worse because like Elmo's standing there, and then out of the ground comes a giant clock. And Elmo's standing on top of this cuckoo clock, and it's going up into space, and Elmo's just standing on it as it's going up and up and up. And on the bottom of it, supporting it all, is like that typical statue mask of Tutankhamun from Egypt. And it's just going up, and then it's in space, and then it like strikes 12, and then Tutankhamun's like, woo, and that scared me so bad. He was like making the sound of an owl.
Okay, you know what?
When did this scary stuff turn into comedy stuff?
But I'm serious. This stuff scared the shit out of me.
I know, but I know when you think about it.
I know.
Oh my god, you guys just reminded me of just one story. This is gonna be my last story for tonight. But when I was
so you go.
Anyway, wait, what?
I have a few more to share, so please you go on. I'll finish
Yeah.
them off.
All right. Well, anyway, when I was younger. Again, I had this nightmare where I was wandering around the house and I was playing with my toys, and then I realized again, same thing. I couldn't talk, and again, the only thing that came out was this like wheezing breath thing, and as I'm like standing there playing with my toys in the basement, like a fake, really stupid looking Yeti thing, like a stereotypical Yeti thing came down there, and it was like, roaring at me. And I went upstairs and I tried to tell my mom, and mom's going like, no, you can go play in the basement. I'm pointing at the freaking Yeti thing that's like right there. Mom doesn't notice it or care about it, so she forced me back in the basement. I'm back in the basement, and this thing tears my arm off, but my arm turns into this like one of those plastic fake looking arms like that you would get at the dollar store for a Halloween decoration. It's started like beating me with this plastic fake arm.
Was it fucking Chewbacca down there?
It scared the hell out of me because it's like weird. It didn't look scary. It looked like a dude in like a suit. It looked like a suit, and why can't my dreams have better production values?
My anthropology teacher came into school dressed like a gorilla today in a gorilla suit.
Yeah, anyway, it tore my arm off, and there was like duct tape at the end of it that was like connecting it to my body.
Do you have like some self-loathing issues, Tinker?
I don't want my right arm anymore.
I don't want my right arm!
I cut it off, and then I duct taped it back, and then the Yeti's like, no, it's mine now.
I regret everything.
Anyway, yeah, you have another story to tell, so I'll let you get to that.
God. Okay. My dreams sometimes they're weird, as you can tell, and on a couple occasions, like I would have more sensible dreams. Like one time, like the way we were going home from my grandparents' house one time in a dream across the Skyway, which leads from Lackawanna into downtown Buffalo, and I had a dream that we were on there. The whole thing like blew up, and my car drowned into the water. Whatever. Then there was this one that I could never properly recall it, so I never talked about it, but I figured, what the hell, we're talking about NDL in space. I mean, why the fuck not? I remember it was a single event from it, was that, this will really fucking make you laugh. It started off with Winnie the Pooh, and in context, it was the movie where they go off looking. It was Winnie the Pooh and like the Great Search for Christopher Robin or something when he was going to school, but they all thought he says he was going to Skull because fucking Owl's an idiot and translated it wrong. And it was like my dream was taking place within that movie of sorts almost, and I was at the point where they're in the caves and Pooh and everyone gets lost, and I was lost in these caves in my dream. And I remember I couldn't find my way out, and it came to the point where I thought I saw my way out. There was like a door, but I'm running through. It's like a big blast door. I'm running through it, and there's like a camera in front of it, and I get there and it sees me and fucking just closes the door, and I'm left in utter death and darkness in these caves, and I knew I was gonna die, and I just started screaming and crying, and I was trapped in there, and I woke up, but it scared the shit out of me. And again, I was like 5-6 years old.
Damn.
Yeah. And then recent dream that I had, not remarkable as far as dreams go, but it was it was interesting. While I do have dreams I die and stuff, I never, some dreams I have like where I know I like jump off of a ledge and I fucking kill myself. I don't know, but that was like accidental, like when I was younger and stuff. But this one, it was strange because I've never gotten shot in a dream before until this one I had the other day. A lot of people say it's a common thing.
Yeah.
To me, what?
Usually dreams end when you get hurt, right?
Usually, but that's why this dream was an oddity, because this was a dream where I got shot, and it continues on. I was back in my old neighborhood. Again, I used to live 10 minutes away. It's not the best of neighborhoods anymore, but I mean, it's not awful, but it's not the best place to live. But I mean, it certainly isn't that bad compared to what it could be. And I actually was back there the other day, like yesterday, because I was going to a wake out that way. But around when I had this dream, maybe about a month ago, I was doing some practicing driving with my grandfather, and we drove up by there, drove by my old house, drove through the neighborhood, a little bit of a fucking reminiscing, whatever, nostalgia. And I was surprised how much it changed there. And maybe a week or two after that, I had a dream I was back there in this dream. And that I was back in my house there, and I was in my living room there, and that there was a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. There was a storm coming, and for some reason, we had to get in the car and get going somewhere. I don't know why, but we did. And I remember looking out the window, and there was a street that ran right into my house. Like if you were to keep going down that street, you'd pull into my driveway. That wasn't like that in all reality, but I didn't think about it. So we got in the car and we're driving. I remember Mom had to go stop at work for something really quickly to pick something really important up. So she does. She goes in, runs out, and she's back in the car. She's got what she needs. And we're leaving, and there's these fucking, like, white hoodlum fucking gangster fuck asses out in front of the school. Because my mom, yeah, she used to teach at school. Of course she taught at a fucking school. And it was a bad school. It was called Falk School, and it's where they send the worst of the worst kids, like behavioral problems and stuff. And so there's plenty of gang stuff there. And so we're pulling away, and these fucking gang kids start causing trouble with us and talking shit. And of course, I'm talking shit back, and we're just trying to fucking get the fuck out. And so they start chasing after the car, and we're getting out of there. I'm like, okay, good, we're safe. But then we turn down a few streets that I do know in reality, and they got all their fucking gangster buddies. Found out about this, and apparently in this neighborhood in my dream, everybody in this neighborhood's a fucking gangster, because everyone's getting out on like their porches and stuff, and they got Uzis and stuff, and on their roofs, and they're just opening fire on my car. I'm with my mom and dad.
And now you know why Tats was scared of GTA.
I'm with my mom and dad. These gangsters are opening fire on us, and of course, I see my dad in dreams from time to time, and it's nice when I do. But he was driving stuff as usual, and so we're being fired at by these fucking gangsters and stuff. He's just trying to get us out here, and the storm already hit, and it's blowing, storming. It's awful. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. They're still chasing after us, not giving up the hunt. My dad's trying to get out of the neighborhood as quick as possible, just flooring it, and we're just about out. And my mom, who's in the back seat with me, is shoving me down beneath the seat so that I don't get hit. As she was willing to take a shot for me. But somehow, one of the gangsters got like a good vantage point and just unloaded right into me. I just started bleeding out everywhere. I felt all the bullets go in, and it hurt so bad. It just incredibly much. You wouldn't even know. It was incredibly painful. And I just remember thinking, then one of those dying thoughts in my dream, one of those silly dying thoughts, I thought, if I die, can I reload from my last save? And now, if you tell someone like that, they're like, oh, laugh, it was a funny dream. I'm like, no, I was thinking that because it was my last delirious thought before death in my dream. And I thought that, and I felt myself dying in the dream, and I felt everything fade out and turn to red, and the pain, I was ripping bullets out of my chest, and my mom is over me, and she's crying and screaming for me, and she doesn't want me to die, and I don't want to die. I'm taking the bullets out, but I'm just bleeding out all over the back of the car, and then it all faded to black, and then it didn't end. I woke up within the dream, like I came to within the dream, and it's hard to describe what it looked like there without, sounding generic. So I'll just say, and literally what it sounded like, I woke up in limbo. Like in Inception. You guys see Inception?
Mm-hmm.
I woke up in limbo. And I haven't seen Inception. Like, we're watching it right now in my psych class. But at the time, when I had the dream, I hadn't seen Inception. And I hadn't thought about Inception in maybe 2 years, so it wasn't like it was actively on my mind. But it was the same. It wasn't like the city that Cobb and Maul had built, but it was the beach, and I didn't even think, oh, I'm in limbo. I thought I'm in the afterlife now because I died. But now looking back, I was effectively in my dream. I was in limbo, and here I was. And it wasn't like, oh, okay, I just went into this dream. Now this happened. I'm in a new dream. No. I remember having just died, and I realized, okay, here I am now. And I remember I screamed because I realized I died, and I left my parents all alone. And I was dead now, and I had no way of getting back to them. And I realized I was dead. I was in this afterlife, heaven, whatever you want to call it. And it was the most painful, emotion ever, knowing that I was now dead and left the people I loved behind. And I was in limbo here, just unable to ever escape. But then I saw someone that I know quite well from a good friend of mine, Ed, from my Taekwondo class. He was there too. Of course, I didn't give much thought to the fact that, is he dead too? In all reality, maybe it was like he was in limbo in his dreams as well. Who knows? But that leaves much to be figured. But he was in my dream, and he almost inherently knew what was going on, what was wrong. And I was telling him about what had happened, how I got shot, and how I didn't want to leave my parents, blah, 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 blah. And he says, I was saving this for myself, but I think you deserve it better. You need it. And he, there's these light that emanates from his hands, and he puts his hands onto me, and I feel this incredible energy course through my body, and I start floating up into the air, and I remember just being surrounded by all this light and stuff, and then I remember coming back to in the other level of the dream with my parents. I came back, and I remember I was in the hospital and stuff, and I remember I came back fully alive and well, and they were so thrilled to see me. I was back, and it was amazing. I went from one level of dream to another and then back again, all conscious of all the other dreams, all conscious of trying to get back to this point. And then I remember just being glad to be back and realizing that I had died and come back, and then I woke up in real life, and this wasn't from a full night's sleep. This was maybe a 2-hour nap that I had this dream.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool dream. I've had dreams similar to that too, but I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah. Could I maybe share one more?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, this one wasn't a dream. This one was just strange. This one was actually scary. It's a briefer story. Have you guys ever heard of something called binaural beats?
Yep, the one we used in the Lavender Town Syndrome.
That's
had that.
right.
Yes.
That's right. Like when I never heard Lavender Town until Tats sent it to me because I never had any system to play Pokemon on. So when I got it, I'm like, oh, those are binaural beats. Well, there's a company called iDoser that basically makes the binaural beats as digital drugs, like these.
I think I know where you're going with this because you sent me a copy of their thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I told you about my experience.
Yeah.
And obviously they have ones to try and attempt to simulate effects of acid, of weed, of all these different drugs. But of caffeine, there's ones that try and listen to this and you'd feel happy. It's all different. For those of you who don't know what binaural beats are, it's basically a tone that's created that one frequency in one ear is like a little bit lower or higher than one in the other ear. And they're at this frequency that is designed to trigger certain parts of the brain. And that gap that's made in pitch is so minuscule to the point where you won't notice it, but your brain will. And so your brain will serve as the mediator and attempt to create something in between to make it feel like those two are at the exact same pitch. And that frequency that your brain adjusts itself to audially is meant to trigger a certain part of the nerve of the brain to create a certain experience. For the most part, for me, it's never ever worked. I tried the lucid dream one time. It sort of worked. You'd got to listen before you go to bed. I tried the acid one. I felt like I was made of water, but that was it. It was strange. But there's one that it's 30 minutes long. And it's of their most extreme that they have. It's only for someone who wants the scariest experience possible. Again, believe what you will about these binaural beats and stuff like that. To me, I never found they worked, but this one did. It was a 30-minute track. It was, yes, I pirated it. They want like $100 for the real thing. I pirated it and every other dose that they have. Sue me. It was called Gates of Hades.
It can be done.
I know. The reason it was so expensive was because they made it, but they felt that anyone who should listen to it was just unfit to be listened to. They released it for the person who really wanted to, but they felt it was such an experience that it shouldn't be consumed by the general public. But I did, because me being the horror junkie I am, I wanted to undertake it. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, right. And there's a lot of reaction videos on YouTube and people saying, oh, this happens, this happens. And so when I'm listening to it, and I encourage you guys to seek it out for yourself, you could probably find an MP3 of it out there or find it on YouTube, so I won't ruin the experience for you of what it sounds like in the events that, because it's not just, it makes a good use of tonal shifts. There's no screaming, it's just literally just those tones, those beats. It says speed splits tones. It makes excellent use of shifts in pitch of the tone that set the mood to it. I'm not going to explain how it does it. I encourage you guys to check it out for yourselves. But there's a point where it's sort of like the trigger point. It's fairly far into the half-hour track, and it's where basically it changes what you're hearing from this, slow kind of creepy build-up. Well, not creepy, but when you're hearing it, it's supposedly playing on the fear part of your brain, stimulating that. And it goes from that to totally just being an onslaught to it, basically, in the tonal shift it is. And that's what people report will get them, because that's when it triggers its most intense effects. And so I tried this out. I'm laying in bed. I go for the full experience. I lay in bed. It's at 12 at night. I turn everything off. No, I don't even bother with the light on my alarm clock. Fuck all that. I'm sitting there. I'm listening, making sure I'm staying awake. I prop up a few pillows. So I know I didn't fall asleep because I had made sure I was awake. And so people said to get the best experience out of these binaural beats, you have to focus on the sound itself, not block out any other thoughts. Sort of like a meditation kind of deal. Focus on that sound so your brain can create its own intermediary. So I do that, and for a while I'm just like, okay, it's just the sound. And then I start slipping into this sort of almost meditative state. I start getting lost in the sound. And inside my mind, what I'm seeing in this sort of almost like meditative vision, I see myself, you guys have played Oblivion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I see myself
Yeah.
in a similar world to Oblivion from the Elder Scrolls games. And obviously I could contribute that to the fact that my mind is supposedly experiencing a fearful thing, and it attributes that to a scary place when it attempts to create a vision for it, so I put it to Oblivion. And so I'm walking there, and it's your typical, for those of you who haven't played Oblivion, it's or any Elder Scrolls game, it's basically, in the Elder Scrolls series, it's the equivalent of hell. And so I'm walking in it, and again, just I'm hearing this audio with it. I'm walking, I see the lava, I see the red sky and everything, and the burning sand underneath me, and I see like the spires off in the distance. And I'm walking towards them. I see like the turrets and stuff like that. And I'm just walking and walking and walking, just through the song. Nothing special happens. And then it gets to the trigger point, as I call it, where it pinpoints and just assaults that part of the brain, apparently, from what I've figured it does. And one of the turrets in Oblivion that shoots fireballs at you shoots one at me, and it comes at me right when I'm about to cross the bridge, and it hits me, and there's this burst of flame, and then the onslaught, the pitchful onslaught, comes at me in the audio, and I literally I feel my body like literally paralyzed. Like I can't move. Like I felt my eyes start going into like this really intense, like rapid eye movement behind my closed eyes. I was fully conscious, and so I feel like this was meant to induce a lucid dream where you like your body falls asleep and everything, but your brain doesn't. Because I got locked into this thing. Because when you dream, your eyes are in the REM state. My eyes are freaking out behind my eyelids. But yeah, I was aware of what I was doing. I wasn't totally like 100% lost in it. I was aware. Okay, this is induced by this Gates of Hades thing. I'm not sure if I said what it was called. I did probably. So I was aware of that. I was aware that I was laying in bed, but I was also aware I was in the experience. But at this point, I'm experiencing this. I couldn't get out. I was locked into this, couldn't move. I started sweating real bad, and in the vision itself, it changed from me exploring Oblivion. When it first started happening, I saw myself. I was lying on the ground facing upwards in a cemetery, and I just saw this black clad misty hooded figure standing over me, and then more did, and then more and more and more, like all these like occult members, like the Grim Reaper almost. And I start sinking down in the ground, and they're just looking down on me until I eventually break through the bottom of the ground. I start falling. There's fire all around me, and I'm seeing all these scary things. It's like freaking hell in there. All these satanic, creepy things, burning stuff, crosses melting, and people being tortured and stuff like that. It's just really creepy, and think of all the most hellish, ghastly things you could imagine. What could be happening in this like black void I'm falling through now, and it was there. The worst things you could think of, and most just blasphemous, torturous things was all there. It was insane, and all I wanted to do was just snap out of it, just wake up. But this thing I was listening to it wouldn't let me, and so I'm just freaking out, and then it gets even worse, and all of it starts spinning around, getting distorted, and filling up my brain, and it's just so weird, and I couldn't get out of it, and I started praying because I thought literally, because now I had fully given into the lucid dream, and I forgot that I was just laying in bed. and I literally felt like I was fighting for my soul. So I started praying. I felt like I was about to go into hell, and I had to pray for my soul. And so I'm doing this. I'm like, God, please forgive me. Blah, 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 blah.
I
And
didn't
then,
mean to pirate it. Make India leave me alone. I don't want to go into space.
and so I'm praying for my fucking soul. And then eventually it stops, relents, and fades out. And I could not fall asleep for another 2 hours because I was just so scared. I couldn't believe what had happened, what this kind of experience it was. And it was amazingly freaky. And another side effect of listening to it from there is supposed to be nightmares following that. But I never had any nightmares following that, thank God. I just had that singular experience. But my God, I could feel like the fire and everything and the torture. It was just so real.
Yeah, those iDose
was
stuff,
just
when done right, can actually pretty fuck you up, man. I did it once before. All I know is I heard some weird girl whispering in my ear and scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, like, that's the only time I ever had an iDoser thing work right for me, and I consider trying it again from time to time just for shits and giggles. But that thing, it worked right. I did it twice, actually. Both times it worked well. First time was amazing. Second time was not as, like, intense, but it's still, oh, God, it's freaky.
Yeah. I think we're on hitting the 2 hour mark. So I'm gonna say, with that being said, we are ending the podcast. Hope you had fun with the Tots Crew podcast. And Kenshin apologizes for rambling. So with that being said,
fuck you all.
Kenshin says sorry, and he's sorry for pirating.
But I don't say sorry. I say lick my ass. But I did go to hell.
Okay,
and
have
I
fun.
like you all to go to hell as well.
Have a ghoulish Halloween.